Officer, as we're watching this and you were speaking right there, we saw that he exited the freeway, got off, driving on side streets now. Looks like we're in the city of Vernon and beginning to look like he's circling in on one area, which is very often what we see in pursuits like this. Drivers will go into areas that they're familiar with and zigzag or circle around certain streets. But we're going to go back to Officer Gomez just for a moment. Officer, you said you didn't know who this person was, but do you know whether the vehicle is stolen?
We don't know. The vehicle has not returned as a stolen vehicle yet. That is always a possibility, but at the moment the vehicle is not stolen. We obviously do have the registrant's information, but that's about it. We don't know if the person driving the vehicle is actually the registered driver. Usually in cases like this, that is not the case. So once again, we have to continue pursuing the suspect to make sure that he's apprehended. However, we want to make sure that we do it in a safe manner. We have strict protocols that we go by, and obviously the public safety is our number one concern, followed by the safety of the officers involved, and of course the suspect as well.
Officer, do you have any information about the burglary, where it happened, what the circumstances were?
This burglary actually came out of our San Bernardino, which is San Bernardino area, which is our inland division, and that's where this is coming from. Obviously, we have the ability to go from one county to another, and that's what these officers are doing when they come from one county to another.
All right, Officer, I don't know, are you able to watch this as we're seeing it? Because the suspect, the driver, is going through a heavily industrial area. It looks like he just was able to squeeze in front of a big rig that was backing up, trying to get a load in. And these are all industrial streets. Of course, Vernon is known for being a very heavily industrial city. But he is circling, it looks like, through the same neighborhoods right there. And it makes it hard for the officers in pursuit to come up with any sort of plan, I'd imagine.
That's right. That's right. I am watching it, and this is very worrisome, of course, when we start seeing this kind of driving, because many of the times the suspects know where they're going, and they know where they want to actually stop and either jump out of the vehicle or do whatever they're going to do, and we can see that this person is obviously doing that. So with that being said, our officers have to be very cautious of this situation, because, as I mentioned, these suspects many times know where they're at better than the officers do.
Right. All right. Officer Gomez, if you could please just stay on the line. I do have a question for you. First, I want to go back up to Stu Bundell to get a better idea of exactly where we are at this point. Stu?
Well, I believe we just entered the 5 freeway, but it looks like we're going to be getting off here very quickly because the 5 was extremely backed up. Perhaps not. These are some windy transition roads right here. It looks like he's definitely getting into some heavy traffic right here. He's going to be going underneath a bridge, but you saw that when he got off on the street there just moments ago. He was in an area one time that was a school we went by. He didn't slow down at all. I did see some children coming out looking like they were hearing the sirens, wanted to see what was going on. Now he's driving in the emergency lane here as we just keep transitioning. I believe this is the 5 and where the 5 and the 10 meet here in the East Los Angeles, possibly Boyle Heights area. And you can see him, though. He's just in the emergency lane here, moving very, very quickly. Again, this is what you were asking about earlier. This is what we were fearing. There's a lot of traffic out here, and it is backing up quite a bit. But this guy has gotten off the freeway before. Perhaps he'll do it again now. I don't see that. There's the officers. I was wondering if the CHP had backed off a little bit, but no, there's that one unit is just bulldogging him, just right behind him every moment that they can. And again, now he just totally he's blocked into actual traffic, and he has no place to go. As we're coming around here, we see cars pulling over, probably hearing the sirens and seeing what's coming up behind him. But again, a lot of traffic. We're trying to get around. I was just afraid it was going to come to an end there behind that truck, but we're northbound 5 near Indiana. You can see the sign right there. He is definitely trying to push his way through the traffic. The civilians are hearing the sirens, and they're moving out of the way, but the driver of that pickup truck is the one who's taking advantage of that. You can see that right there. Officers right next to him, they're trying to block him in, but once again, he's gotten away. Again, northbound 5 here. I believe this is still the northbound 5, and We're in the East LA area, but CHP still very much in pursuit, in traffic here in this afternoon.
It's amazing he's able to move just and maneuver the way he is, because this traffic is really heavy. We're coming in, as you mentioned, Stu, into the rush hour now, and it's going to get dark soon. A lot of people are emptying out of their offices and just filling up the roads and the highways right there. And the interesting thing here is they are really putting the pressure on him. They are not giving him any space. They are right on top of him for every move. A tactic that we've often seen in pursuits, but sometimes they back off and give them space, don't put the pressure on, but that is really not the case here. They're just feet away every single moment of this pursuit, and he's not getting off the freeway. He's staying on.
Oh, it's amazing how he's able to maneuver this truck. It's not a small vehicle, and look at him go. Officer Gomez, I hope you're still on the line with us. We've seen the pit maneuver many times, but really you're not in an ideal situation for that kind of a maneuver right now, are you?
Well, I can't speak to the specifics of our pit maneuver. However, I can tell you that we always consider it simply because we can quickly end a pursuit. With situations like this, obviously there's the motoring public. We talked about how dangerous it is, especially with rush hour traffic here in LA. And with that being said, it's always something that we consider. However, we are not going to endanger the motoring public's life simply to pit this person. We have to make sure that the conditions are right, and we got to make sure that if this comes to an end, we always want to make sure that it comes into it's a positive ending for everyone involved.
Wow, just another really dangerous maneuver there. You saw him go into oncoming traffic, trying to get around a big rig, and we have seen the driver who's wanted in this pursuit speed through school areas and on emergency lanes, and really push his way through a big rig that was trying to back up. And right now we're told that he's on Olympic Boulevard, where things will open up a little bit more there. Sorry about the camera trouble there. There we go. The sun is going down, so you can imagine it's difficult out there, sort of a difficult time of day to be following something like this. You got the traffic, and then just some real tough lighting conditions out there as well for a lot of the drivers on the road. It makes it hard for them and the officers that are in pursuit.
Officer Gomez, another question for you. In a situation like this where you check out the registration of the vehicle, it doesn't come back stolen, do you then try to get in contact with the person who's registered to? Because I think in some pursuits, if you know who the driver is, and if it gets a little too dicey, do officers then back off because you know who the person is or likely to be?
That can be the case sometimes. We do try to get a hold of the person. Maybe we can identify this person at a later time, and that'll also dictate to what we do in the pursuit by knowing who the suspect is. I can't say whether we've done that at the moment simply because this is a multi-agency pursuit where it started in the county it started in, but we will do that at times to try to identify the subject and try to get a hold of them.
And, Officer, how many units do you have down there? We see the one right there on our screen, and we see the two on the screen. What kinds of resources do you have devoted to this right now?
Well, simply because we don't know the amount of people that are in there, whether they're armed or anything like that. At the moment, we do have two patrol vehicles that are following this suspect vehicle, and of course we also have a supervisor there that is making sure that everything goes according to plan and according to our policy and our strict adherence to our pursuits as well.
And then, because this pursuit is jumping on the freeway, getting off on city streets, CHP still in pursuit right now, but at what point do you then kind of change the guards and let the local authorities follow this suspect?
Well, due to the fact that this pursuit has taken a life of its own, if you would, with going from city to city and county to county, it is best for us to continue in this pursuit. And we can see that he just collided into a vehicle there.
Yes.
It's best that we continue so that if in fact it travels, it goes to other cities and other counties, we can simply follow our same procedures because all CHP officers are trained the same way, and we can follow the same procedures and bring this to an end.
You know, I have often wondered in pursuits like this, Officer Gomez, when someone is hit like that just from out of nowhere, and then the car that's in pursuit, the vehicle, just takes off and you see a bunch of police cars following, what does that motorist do? Does another patrol car come by and talk to them, or are they just sort of left on their own at that point?
That's a great question, and I got to tell you that we absolutely do follow up with these people that are involved in any way, shape, or form, especially like that person that was hit from behind. We got to make sure that person is okay, see if they're injured. If they are injured, we're going to render aid to them, of course. And as I mentioned before, that is going to be our number one concern. So if someone is injured, we're going to make sure we take care of them. If they're not injured, we're going to make sure we investigate that collision as well.
And then, so we see that you have your units on the ground there. Do you know which air units, the law enforcement air units, are following this? And then who is the person who is kind of keeping track of all the laws that he's breaking so that this guy can be charged when he's caught?
Well, we do a combination of things. Obviously, we have our radio traffic that we go based on, and these officers involved are constantly updating our dispatch center, which, by the way, they do a great job as well, keeping us informed. And of course, we use our media partners such as KCAL and CBS, and we collaborate with them so that we can analyze the pursuit after the fact.
All right. It looks like this may be coming to an end, Officer Gomez here. Yep. Getting out and giving up.
Stu Mundell, let's go back up to you, what you're seeing and where you are. And there are 2 people in the car.
3.
Maybe more. Stu, are you with us?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I was just trying to get the address where we're at. We're at Vernon and Leonis, I believe. Vernon and Leonis, you can see that. He just pulled into looks like a trucking or some kind of large industrial area. It almost looks like he knew where he was going. It's very unusual that he just pulled in and the doors popped open and three people got out of that vehicle. You can see there CHP is approaching the car right there. They're clearing the car. They didn't even order any of these people out. That was a very dangerous move on the suspects as they just bailed out of the vehicle as soon as it came to a stop. Now, officers from the CHP are coming up to them right now. They're going to be taking them into custody, but again, without any kind of resistance whatsoever. And again, this is in the, I would believe we are again in the Vernon area, and they just pulled over here. I'm going to go a little bit wider as they're taking these people into custody right now. It looks like some sort of industrial trucking area. He just basically, possibly now we see why he just stopped. When he pulled in there, he had absolutely no place to go.